afternoon and welcome to Midday Live. I am Wendy Lai. Our headlines for this afternoon. More than 25 homes at Kalande in the East Gonja district destroyed by rainstorm and several persons displaced. Greater Accra Regional Police arrest 80 suspected criminals. And right to information bill may not be passed by Parliament before Easter recess. On the foreign front this afternoon, voting has begun in Russia for a new president. We have details of these stories and many more lined up. Please do stay with us. Let's start with our stories now. And the Ghana Grid Company, Gridco, has projected a revenue loss of 300 Ghana cedis. That's 300 million Ghana cedis this year as a result of recent tariff reductions announced by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC. Now, addressing the third quadrennial delegates conference in Kumasi, the Chief Executive Officer of Gridco, Jonathan Amwakoba, expressed concern that the loss through tariff reduction will negatively affect the operations of the company.
Electricity tariffs have been reduced by 10 to 30% effective March 15th following the government's recommendation of a reduction in tariffs to lighten the burden on Ghanaians and businesses. At the third quadrennial delegate conference in Kumasi, the chief executive of Gridco, Jonathan Amwakoba, noted the 17% reduction in transmission service charge would adversely affect the company's 2018 revenue target. Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Yalla, encouraged management of Gridco to promote the safety of workers.
As unions, we have to reposition ourselves, because businesses are changing the way they do things. So we cannot be the unions of the 19th century or 20th century. We have to be unions of 21st century. We cannot pursue the old trade union agenda. We have to be flexible. We have to be able to adapt so that we can survive.
The divisional chairperson of Gridco, Samuel Bue Ohime, mentioned health and safety among challenges confronting workers and entreated management to build a safety culture.
A company that does not recognize safety as a corporate culture invariably has very expensive business operation and expenses as a result of accidents, deaths, loss of equipment, and poor environmental housekeeping. In other words, a poor safety culture eventually leads to poor financial controls and service delivery.
Gridco became operational on August 1, 2008 as a result of the country's power sector reforms. The conference was under the theme Promoting Occupational Safety and Health, the quest for building a safety culture.
To other stories, and the Speaker of Parliament, Aaron Michael Quay, has blamed Africa's poverty, misery and diseases on corruption. He made the observation at the biennial general meeting of African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption here in Accra. Here's a report by Nong Falong.
The three-day event is being attended by executives of APNAC from across Africa. The Speaker of Parliament, Michael Quay, called for an end to what he termed the culture of leniency in the fight against corruption. He advocated a constant review and amendment of laws targeted to reduce corruption and commended the setting up of the Special Prosecutor Office.
It's a killer. Every criminal, every corruption person has somebody to go and beg for him or her. Corruption cannot be fought with wishful thinking. It must be fought with laws. And laws are not suggestions. Laws are mandatory, and they must sting and bite.
The Minister of State in charge of national security, Albert Kandapa, noted accountability is key in the fight against corruption. APNAC is a network of African parliamentarians aimed at involving parliamentarians in the fight against corruption.
The Accra Regional Police Command has rounded up 80 suspected criminals in separate swoops within the command for varying offences. Now, the swoops were conducted after weeks of surveillance and aimed at flushing out criminals.
The dawn swoops were conducted at divisional levels across the Accra policing region. 35 male suspects were rounded up at Awudome Cemetery, Bubuashi, Cable and Wireless, Circle Aveno area, Takrady and Dansoman stations. 12 motorbikes were also impounded at the end of the exercise. Among them, 21-year-old Kweku Stephen and Muhazu Al-Hassan, 47, who were in possession of quantities of dried leaves suspected to be narcotic drugs and other implements. The swoop by the Nima division were conducted at Nima, Kotobabi and Adabraka, where a total of 17 suspects were apprehended. Substances suspected to be including Indian hemp were found on 5 of the suspects. 24 suspected criminals were rounded up by the Medina division. Some of them, all male suspects, were picked up at a drinking spot near Taifa Polyclinic. 4 other suspected criminals were rounded up at the Dome Cemetery, bringing the total to 80. All suspects are being screened and those found culpable will be put before court. The police is requesting the public to support their efforts by volunteering credible information on criminals and criminal activities.
And residents of Oyibi and environs in the Katamanso district of the Greater Accra region are calling for increased police visibility in the area to ward off criminals. They say persistent armed robberies in the area makes them feel unsafe.
Oyibi is a sprawling community in the Greater Accra region. According to the residents, about 16 robbery cases have been recorded close to the Valley View University and along the Oyibi Apollonia Ashaman and the Ayikuma Agomeda roads. The robbery attacks have left 2 persons dead. The situation has raised security concerns and heightened fear amongst residents. Residents say just last week, this hostel for students of Valley View University was attacked.
Because of visitor. Occupants of this hostel were attacked around 9 p.m. The robbers had easy access because their gates was open whilst they had visitors.
The owner of this boutique said she lives in constant fear due to several unsuccessful attempts by robbers to break into her shop.
Almost every week, the robbers try to break into my shop. This situation is getting unbearable.
Residents want the police to scale up patrols in the community.
By 9 p.m., we just stay indoors because the attacks are random. We do not know when exactly such an attack will happen. Though patrol teams are passing by and all that, I mean, they are supposed to do their jobs, but you never know. There might be some onlookers. Once they also leave, maybe the attacks to continue.
Yeah, we do see patrol teams around, but they're not helping enough because the areas they go to, I don't think they are the places the robbery going on there. They are always on the street, the highway. That place, they can't find any robbery there.
For now, they are waiting with bated breath for protection by the police.
You're still watching Midday Live. To one of our headline stories, and hundreds of people have been rendered homeless at Kalande in the East Gonja municipality of the Northern region following a rainstorm. The rainstorm, which destroyed over 25 homes, lasted over an hour.
The rainstorm destroyed more than 25 homes on Friday evening. Roofs of several houses were ripped off and a 13-year-old girl was injured. Victims of the rainstorm say they have been rendered homeless and want assistance immediately. Another victim, Karimayi, said the rainstorm had not only destroyed her home, but also damaged belongings of her children whose father passed on 5 months ago. Meanwhile, the East Gonja Municipal NADMO coordinator, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, says his outfit is still assessing the situation and assured the affected victims will get the necessary support from NADMO.
Now let's look at some mission stories. We first focus on health, and pregnant women in Yalla in the Wa East District of the Upper West region will not attend clinic when pregnant because they will be admitted and treated in the same room with men. Inadequate rooms and space have compelled healthcare givers to use an office for a maternity ward. The community is, however, trying to reverse this. They're putting up a maternity ward complex to encourage pregnant women to visit clinic and reduce maternal mortality. We
have more than, 4 number of people who really needs to be, detained. So because of that, we are forced to mix them together. And aside from that, we sometimes have to even pay them.
There is excitement. The people of Yalla for years have battled for improved health care for pregnant women. Only a small structure served over 4,000 women. Some had to lie too on a bed. Others struggled to find space. The Yalla Health Center facility had no maternity at all.
What we're using today is an office. Is a side office that we are using, and we have only 1 delivery bed. And sometimes we receive about 3 women in labor. Some are forced to deliver on the floor. And even with the floor, we cannot accommodate more than 2.
In fact, this is the old facility, and it was improved to this. But space is still a challenge. So the community came in. Men and pregnant women shared the same room.
They are always mixed up with other male patients who are being accommodated in some small room which have been created through their own initiative. So it's always become difficult, and as a result of that, most of the pregnant women feel shy to come to the health center when they are in labor for the fear that they will be put together with other male patients.
This was a setback to efforts at ensuring every woman delivered at a health facility. With a committed staff, a new place to attend to women will see improvement in the health of women, particularly pregnant women. This prompted action from the community.
This project is an initiative from the community health volunteers in collaboration with the health workers. At their usual meetings, they suggested that if the community can, on their own, take an initiative to put up such a project. So the committee members accepted the suggestion, sent the information to the community, which was accepted by all the members.
In fact, about 3 communities attend clinic here, and so residents of these 3 communities are to pay 500 cedis each.
The labor ward was too limited, too small, and it needed expansion. And in fact, the community embraced it, and they said, instead of expanding it, we want to put up a new structure so that other things could be done within the same block. And we have seen that already they've hit the ground running, and it will only need some other more support from everywhere in order that this project can go on.
This is to be done with the support of the District Assembly. This is indeed a great opportunity for the Assembly to improve health care.
The initiative that they took is something that we are encouraging all communities. During my visits to the communities, I made it clear to all the communities that I visited that any community that will initiate any project to improve upon the living standards of the community, then the Assembly will be ready to also partner with them, take part of the course and complete it for them, as the Assembly will also initiate its own projects in addition.
The district health team says with a population of over 4,000 and an adolescent population of over 700, Yalla is poised to see improvement in health care.
The name of the community means to run away. And of course, these women you see here are really excited and happy. The men are giving them their support. The reason is that the building of a maternity wing will go a long way in ensuring that women who go into labor deliver safely. Maternal death is what they have fought against, and they believe strongly that indeed it will end and never be seen or heard about in this community. Bright Nanamfo, TV3, Yalla, Upper West Region.
And now to education. And poor education infrastructure is one of the setbacks to quality education in the Wa East District of the Upper West region. Now, to reverse the situation, the District Assembly is constructing new school blocks. At Bona, one of the communities, a new primary and junior high school block will soon be completed to reduce the difficulty teachers and pupils go through in teaching and learning.
Sadaka. Sadaka. Wakuli tahamida. Wakuli tahamida. Sadaka. Sadaka.
Because of the dust, if you don't put the water and you walk in the and you walk there, so the dust disturb us. That's why we put the water there.
So that it will allow the children to be able to sit down and learn.
No. They are sit on their chairs.
Okay, so I'm saying that once the water is on the floor, it will allow the children to be able to learn properly.
No, sir. They can sit there, they don't learn. In they are sit there, they are sit.
This was my interaction with a Class 4 teacher at the Bona DA Primary School in Wa East in the Upper West region. I couldn't easily comprehend what he said. Maybe he couldn't also understand what I said, but further push indicated the floor is watered every day to prevent dust from disturbing lessons. The school is distressed. The community wanted education for its children.
You can see the state in which it is totally overused and overwhelming. Ghana Education Service then came in to put up another one, but the community still wants more to be done. A new structure is coming up, and very soon you'll find the community with a new school.
District education authorities came in and put up this, an improvement on what the community could afford. But even this has issues.
Most of them floor. We got about 4 furniture. Those who come early, they will be seated, the rest has to floor. And this one, when you enter dust, when you are teaching, when the people want to walk, you will be feeling dust. So it's not comfortable at all.
Classes are combined. Doors, windows, and every structure had problems. This affected enrollment. Children stayed away from school, and parents were not eager to send kids to school. In fact, education in Bona suffered a huge setback with enrollment. The chief of Bona, Na Alhaji Kadiri Sedu Salia Taksini, told me in the local language that their school structure prevented several kids from going to school and derailed efforts at improving education.
Class class hin to conquer Ghana government. Bon want to query at the Pilim school pala. Julian Onambabaha.
Bona's education problems got to the Wa East District Assembly in 2005, and efforts were made to resolve this. A new primary and junior high school were started in 2016, but the project stalled.
For the primary, I came in and met it at that stage because it was awarded in 2005, thereabouts. 2 projects were awarded, one to Loksago, then one to Bona. A primary school block was supposed to be built at Loksago and JSS block at Bona. So I decided to swap them. So I sent the primary school block to Loksago and then brought the JSS block to Bona so that they will all have the full 9 classroom block for the basic level.
The Assembly, however, says it is ready to complete the 2 projects to allow the children of Bona to have a conducive environment to learn.
Some of the primary school people sit outside because like they are more than the structure that they have already. There's every tendency that some of them can always sneak and go back to the house. Or some of them will think that once they come to sit outside, it is no good for them. For that matter, they will refuse to come to school at all. But once that we are adding many structures, they will always be housed in a classroom.
The chief of Bonai again told me in the local language the community is poised to ensure every child is enrolled in school, and a task force has been formed to ensure every child is sent to school. Bonai is poised to improve education, and residents are counting on the district assembly to complete the projects. Mission is pushing for the completion of the project too to improve education in Bonai in Wa East. Bright Nanafo, TV3.
Still to come this afternoon on Midday Live, Right to Information Bill may not be passed by Parliament before Easter recess. And on international front, voting has begun in Russia for a new president. So you're still watching Midday Live. Do stay with us. We have more shortly. Thanks for staying. You're still watching Midday Live with me, Wendy Lai. To a headline story, and the Right to Information Bill may not be passed by Parliament before it rises on Friday, March 23. President Akufo-Addo on March 6 pledged to have the bill laid and passed before Parliament rises. But TV3 has gathered the bill is not part of the business scheduled for next week. Catherine Frimpoma has more.
It is Friday, the last sitting for the week. This is when the Business Committee briefs the House on what to expect in the ensuing week. The Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, in presenting the business statement, mentioned certain papers to be laid, as well as ministers who will answer questions on the floor of Parliament.
Right Honourable Speaker, you may read communications to the House whenever they are available. The Business Committee has programmed the following ministers to respond to questions asked of them during the week. Bills may be presented to the House, first reading, and those of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in one day in accordance with Order 119.
The news team gathered the bill is unlikely to be laid before the House rises on Friday. The President, in his 61st Independence Day anniversary address, was emphatic the bill will be passed before the House rises for the Easter break.
After many years of hesitation, we intend to bring a bill again to Parliament and work to get it passed into law before the end of this meeting of Parliament.
The ranking member for Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Alhaji Inusa Fuseni, thinks the President was misinformed.
I think that the President was not adequately informed of the calendar of Parliament, and that's why on 6th March he said that we will pass it in this sitting. We cannot pass it in this sitting.
He, however, noted the committee was ready to facilitate a bill is passed with speed when laid.
I have had discussions with the chairman, and we have agreed that when the bill is laid, we will take it through the same procedure that we took the Office of the Special Prosecutor bill through. We'll do a stakeholder engagement for 2 days here in Parliament, and then probably move to Kofredua or Dodua or wherever and do a 2-day consideration of the clause by clause. And so that by the time, if it is late before we rise, by the time we come back, the report will be ready. We are prepared to work during this break to ensure that the bill is ready.
The Deputy Minister for Information, Kojo Nkrumah, is however optimistic it may be laid before Friday, though he's unable to give any timeline.
I do know, as I mentioned, that it has been laid before Cabinet. The updated works have been done on it. And like I said, I'm expecting that it will show up here in the shortest possible time. I am not really worried about whether it's Thursday or Friday. The important thing is to have it laid, to have it discussed and passed. And I've seen the commitment coming through from that side. And so we should all expect it here in the shortest possible time.
There's a countdown clock activated by the RTI coalition, who are keenly watching and expecting it to be laid before Friday. And so what assurance would you give them?
I don't begrudge anybody who has a countdown clock on it. It is within their right to begin to count it down. But it is, for me, the big important thing, which is to ensure that it is laid and it is passed. It's not so much a matter of whether it's laid on Thursday or Wednesday.
An ultimatum given by the RTI Action Campaign Group expires on same day Parliament goes on recess. It's been 22 years since the IEA pioneered the first draft of the Right to Information Bill. Government came out with its draft, reviewed it in 2003, 2005 and 2007, but never took it to Parliament until February 5, 2010. In 2012, the bill lapsed and was relayed in 2016. In the final days of the state parliament, an effort by then Majority Leader Alban Bagbin to have the legislation passed was not successful, following objection by the then minority NPP. The NPP government, in its 2016 manifesto, promised to pass the bill when it regained power. Catherine Frimpoma, TV3 News, Accra.
And more on the Rights Information Bill, the Majority Leader in Parliament and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Mensah Bonsu, has given an assurance that the Right to Information Bill will be passed in the next meeting of Parliament. He was speaking on the sidelines of a meeting of African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, APNAC, here in Accra.
The Majority Leader in Parliament and Member for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Mensah Bonsu, agreed the passage of the Right to Information RTI bill has taken too long and gave some reasons for the delay.
I can assure you that whatever it takes, the next meeting of Parliament would certainly pass that bill. There are two major things that we run into that caused us to delay a bit and have further consultations. The one relates to where to assess information. And the second relates to what information to make available to the citizenry.
The RTI bill was drafted in 1999 and reviewed in 2003, 2005 and 2007, but was not presented to Parliament until 2013.
To other stories, and the New Patriotic Party, NPP, says preparations are underway to establish a training institute which will train potential appointees and national party executives. The acting General Secretary of the NPP, John Boedu, disclosed this at the party's 10th anniversary celebration of the Dankwa Institute in Accra. It is clear the two major political parties are positioning themselves to further enhance their hold on power as they take steps to prepare their party members. In August 2017, the National Democratic Congress launched the party's ideology school, the Ghana Institute of Social Democracy, which will train and inculcate the ideals and values of the party into its members. At a gathering to mark the 10th anniversary since the establishment of the Dankwa Institute, the acting General Secretary of the NPP, John Boedu, said there are plans to establish a party training institute to provide credible cutting-edge research strategies to enable the party to hold on to power. He said the institute will inculcate in their members core values and ideals of the party.
It is envisaged that in the medium to long term, potential appointees in an MPP government, as well as elected officers and appointees of the party, at the national, regional, constituency, electoral area level and polling station levels will have received training at this institute.
A former national campaign manager of the NPP, Peter McMenu, said no timelines have been given for the establishment of the institute.
Take it from me, when we say institute, we are not going to build the University of Ghana. No, we are not going to build the University of Ghana. What we're doing is just to put all the resources, the training resources together. We can hire a conference room like this for training sessions. We can go out there to Takrade, to constituencies and hire a place and do the training. The important thing is to get the materials.
Speaking on the theme, Enquiry and Advocacy, the think tank as a democratic imperative. Nana Santi Bedietu, Executive Secretary to the President, said think tanks such as the Dankwa Institute must be thorough in their research activities to deepen Ghana's democratic credentials.
Their ability to focus on discrete areas of public policy and inquire into relevant policy alternatives and present them to the public has clearly become an imperative of any democratic dispensation. But for the public and their governments to rely on such research findings and recommendations, think tanks must be thorough in their inquiry and analysis and persuasive in their advocacy of such findings.
The Dankwa Institute, which was established in January 2008, was named after Dr. Joseph Boachi Dankwa, one of the founding fathers of the Gold Coast Convention Party. Away from politics to education, and Kobbari School complex in Ho is bedeviled with a lack of infrastructure facilities to cope with its ever-increasing population. The headmaster of the school disclosed that instead of 40 pupils in a class, the school currently has 69 pupils in a class, each A, B, C streams following lack of classroom blocks. He was speaking with TV3 News after an award ceremony to acknowledge a pupil of the school who emerged winner at the Spelling Bee contest in South Africa. Here's a report by Robert Abilba.
Kobbari School complex was established in 1975 by the General Ignatius Kutua Champon regime to provide basic education for children of military men and women in the Volta region. However, infrastructure have not witnessed any form of improvement, leaving them in a state of disrepairs. Classrooms are exposed and crowded as erosion has heavily threatened the entire school premises. Again, the school of 1,700 people population has no library, science laboratory and an assembly hall. Head teacher of the school, Kwajo Afake, shared some challenges with TV3.
69 in the class is ABC, so 69 times 3. So to about 200 and something, so we need more classrooms. So we are appealing that any person that is willing to come and assist them.
In spite of these challenges, the school continues to chalk successes in several academic exploits. A recent success story is about a Form 2 student, Rosalina Kwenu, who excelled in the Spelling Bee sub-regional contest in Johannesburg, South Africa.
It is a journey worthwhile, so you should try and take chances because they say opportunity comes but once, so make good use of it.
Two more stories, and we focus on the eastern region where hundreds of residents in the Buaka districts and environs have hit the streets to begin a 6-day walk to protest government's intention to mine bauxite in the Tiwa Forest Reserve. Led by a group called Concerned Citizens of the Tiwa Landscape, the protesters called on government to reconsider its decision or face their wrath.
The Tiwa Rainforest Reserve covers an area of about 23,663 hectares and is part of an ecosystem known as the Upper Guinea Forest. The range, which spans across Achimebwakwa, is one of 2 such forests in Ghana. It provides headwaters for 3 major river systems, the Ayensu, Densu and Berm rivers. 5 million Ghanaians depend on the 3 rivers that take their source from the reserve. Concerned about government's intentions to mine bauxite in the reserve, the concerned citizens of the Tiwa Landscape hit the streets to express their displeasure. Spokesperson of the group, Nana Ampemda Kwamponsa, called on government to rescind its move.
We are saying that if government has banned galamsey because of the destruction it's causing to our environment, then why do we want to mine bauxite in Tiwa, which will open up the forest for further destruction than what's already happening in the forest at the moment?
The peaceful protest march started from Sejimase to Chebi, where the first petition was presented to the East Akim Municipal Assembly. The group followed with the next petition to the Chihin's Palace.
dance all day in Mosai. I say you should be a sass. Who are no penny to an Mombaya? You show me a say open, and I'm not a call a Punakosabia. The Bamanaswani is a sre. Yes, Ramada.
A member of the group and Deputy Director of Environmental NGO, Arocha Ghana, Daryl Bosso, reiterated their resolve to ensure the forest reserve is preserved.
There's too much at stake to lose, and we're happy to join this coalition so that we can achieve the aim of bringing the message to government. We are deliberately using the World Water Day, which is coming on Thursday, 22nd March, and we are going to start that by walking from here all the way to the flagstaff house each day till we get our message across to the president.
The 95-kilometer journey, which started on March 17th and will be climaxed on March 22, which is the day set aside for the celebration of the World Water Day, will end at the Flagstaff House, where a petition will be presented to the presidency. Government is tight-lipped on whether or not it will go ahead with its plans to mine bauxite and the Etua Reserve as leverage for a $15 billion joint venture deal with China to develop an integrated aluminium industry.
This is Midday Live. Do stay with us. You're still watching Midday Live. Let's move to some international news now. And polls have opened in Russia's presidential election, in which incumbent Vladimir Putin is seeking a fourth term in office. The first results will arrive on Sunday evening. Mr. Putin has been Russia's dominant leader since 1999, either as president or prime minister. He's open for another 6-year term and faces 7 other candidates. His rivals include a millionaire communist, Pavel Gudindin, and a former reality television host, Ksenia Snobdak, and the veteran nationalist Vladimir Zelensky. Now, the main opposition leader has been prohibited from standing because of a fraud conviction that he said was politically motivated. To some more, and a group of residents from the Indian Ocean French island of Mayotte has been rounding up suspected illegal migrants and taking them to local police. A member of the group told AFP the move targeted around 100 foreigners, Comorans and Africans. Now, Mayotte has been in a turmoil since mid-February with roadblocks and a general strike and protest. Now, protests against the economic crisis and illegal migrants in the island have paralyzed the island. Now, French Minister for Overseas Terrorists has condemned the move, saying this kind of practice does not exist in a department. She urged the population to let the police do their job, adding that security arrangements were already in place. Locals complain that the arrival of migrants are putting Mayotte's health, housing and education services under pressure. And in the United States, reports say Florida officials were told there were no safety concerns about a crack in a Miami University bridge hours before it collapsed, killing 6 people. Florida International University said a meeting on Thursday morning involved the engineering and construction companies as well as Florida's transport department. University officials say they were told that the crack did not compromise the structural integrity of the bridge. Still watching Media Live. That's all for international news. And it's a showcase of Ghanaian tradition and culture at Ghana's 61st Independence Anniversary celebration in New Delhi, India.
prevail. She got to live on. It is your support that will make this dream come true.
The funeral for the late dancehall diva Ebony Rains will take place at the forecourt of the State House on Saturday, March 24, 2018.
We'll meet some more of that as well in a subsequent bulletins. But that'll be all for this afternoon. My name is Wendy Lai. A quick run through our headline stories. Stories we brought you this afternoon. More than 25 homes in Kalande in East Gonja municipality hit by rainstorm with several persons displaced. The Greater Accra Regional Police arrest 80 suspected criminals. And right to information bill may not be passed by Parliament before Easter recess. And on international fronts, we brought you some updates on the Russia elections. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Do have a lovely afternoon.